All right, a bizarre legal case unfolding in North Dakota. Rodney Broussard is the first American citizen known to be busted with the help of a predator surveillance drone. Now a big debate is brewing in the small town of Lakota, raising privacy concerns over the use of unmanned drones by law enforcement. Joining us live to talk about it, Lise Wheel, former federal prosecutor, Fox News legal analyst. Joseph DiBenedetto is a criminal defense attorney and joins us as well. The backstory is the cows. I got to explain this. Cows wander onto Broussard's property, and he decides he's going to keep the neighbor's cows, which he can't do. So the cops show up to say you can't do that. He allegedly grabs a high-powered rifle and chases the police off his property. Here's what the attorney representing North Dakota said, quote, "The alleged crimes were already committed long before a drone was even thought of being used. It was only used to help assure there weren't weapons and to make the arrest safer for both the Broussards and law enforcement." And, you know, Lise, they had a warrant, right?
They did have a warrant, but I really worry about slippery slope here. In other words, you can get a warrant for that. You knew that the crimes were already committed, so-called crimes in the cows, okay? And you can get a warrant for that. Where do we end with that?
No,
do we have helicopters?
It wasn't for the cows, Lisa.
No,
it was because
Greg.
he allegedly was terrorizing police with high-powered rifles.
I got that, but you need a drone for that? No, just go in with an old-fashioned arrest warrant. That's it. It's over. Don't bring in a drone.
But isn't it safer, Joseph, if you know where on this huge property Broussard is and you can see whether or not he's got some weapons?
Greg, I will agree with you. Under these particular facts and circumstances, the use of the drone is not so egregious. But what Lise brings up is, if they're bringing in a drone for 6 cows, can you imagine what the federal government would do if they believed that you were Tony Montana or Pablo Escobar? I mean, every citizen of the United States has a reasonable expectation of privacy in their home. The use of this drone is no different than the FBI storming your house and searching every single room. The fact that they're flying up above makes no difference.
But what about the 1989 U.S. Supreme Court decision? And in fact, we'll put it up on the screen. Supreme Court said any member of the public could legally have been flying over Riley's property. This is a different case. He was growing marijuana in a helicopter at the altitude of 400 feet and could have observed Riley's greenhouse. The police officer did more. And at least the Supreme Court said, you know what? You don't even need a warrant to use a helicopter. How is a surveillance drone any different than a chopper?
But other Supreme Court cases have said you have to have that. You have to have the warrant to go in. Remember the cases have talked about if you know, a heat-seeking device, you've got to have a warrant. Anything like that coming from your house, you have to have a warrant. Here, maybe not so different. Maybe here the drones were okay because they did have the warrant and they knew the guy. They wanted to get him in custody and it was a huge property.
I'm not sure you need a warrant. Lisa and Joseph, stick around for just a second, all right?
Serving as judge and jury for us today, Andrew Napolitano. Judge Napolitano is standing by, listening to these arguments, Judge.
You know, I'm seated with Lisa. I don't even think she knew I was going to rule on this case.
I had no idea.
But she'll be happy with my ruling. I'm surprised that the police got a warrant, and I'm glad that they did get one. But I think this is very, very dangerous territory for America to be in. Do we really want to live in a society where little unmanned pieces of plastic can watch us wherever we go at the whim of a cop? I don't think so.
It was the whim of a cop and a judge who signed the warrant.
I don't think it matters whose whim it is without some broad consensus amongst the public. Do we want to become sort of a high-tech East Germany where the government watches everything we do? I'd be against that.
High-tech East Germany, we had a Tony Montana reference as well. So, Judge, thank you very much for that. Judge will be with us in just a moment on a different topic.
Well, for the final decision, we'll just have to wait for the cows to come home.
Oh, come on.